Hello, wonderful Finance Oracle family. I trust you're doing well today. Well, today I'm here to discuss with you about how to get an Australian permanent residency in 2024. You know, Australian permanent residency is a bit complex to understand, and a lot of people get confused finding out or understanding the kind of visas that they can apply for. So today I'm going to be talking about how to migrate to Australia in this year 2024, and I will take you through the step-by-step process of how you can get an Australian permanent residency or an Australian visa. So I will also be telling you about the type of visas which are available, okay? So because like I said earlier on, there are complexities and it's quite difficult for people to understand as well. They have the family visa in a situation where you want to reunite with your spouse, with your father, with your, with a family member. They've also have the business and investors visa. Just from the name, this means that maybe you want to invest, start a business in Australia as an entrepreneur, a startup business and stuff like that, so you can come through the business or investors visa. They also have the skilled visa, skilled migration, which is a bit large or a bit wide. So, well, for the employment visa, I'll be talking about visas like visa 482, visa 494, and visa 186. Okay, these visas are employment visa, which means before you can apply, you will need to first get an employment offer. Visa 482 and visa 494 are temporary visas, okay? 482 is temporary shortage visa, and 494 is skilled sponsorship regional visa. They are both temporary visa. They will give you up to 5 years of stay. In between these 5 years, then you may be getting your permanent residency, because after 3 years of living and working in the region, you can apply for permanent residency. Yeah, then the permanent one, which is visa 186, is PR for skilled workers, okay? So yeah, what is when most people want to apply for PR or want to move to Australia, what they mostly will talk about is the general skill visa. The general skill visa is actually visa 189, visa 190, and visa 491. These are all general skill visa. 189 is skilled independent visa, 190 is skilled nominated visa, then 491 is skilled work regional professional visa. So the 189 is permanent residency, yeah, but for 491 is a temporary visa, which will give you up to 5 years of stay, and once you've worked in this region and lived in this region for at least 3 years, you can now apply for permanent residency, okay? Yeah, so that is it. But then if you want to apply for visa 190, okay, you need to be sure, because this is a state nominated visa for a state, so you need to be sure that your own skill is listed in the state, which means, for example, if you're a horticulturist and it has been listed in a province, in a state in Australia, then you can apply for this visa in that state. If it's not listed, needless for you to apply because you will not get the visa. It might be in the general skilled list, but for this state it is not listed, so you cannot get a state sponsorship from them. So that is it. The same thing with visa 491 is a regional visa, okay? So you also need to ensure that that skill is being sponsored from that region. Okay, so that is it. Now, according to current migration legislation, the regional area, because some people ask, what do you mean by regional area? Which areas are classified as the regional area? The regional area is the whole country except Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne. So if you remove Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne, the other areas are all known as regional area. Now for visa 189, 190, and 491, they are point tested visa. So it means that your success to get this visa depends on the points. If you don't meet up the point, then you not get the visa. And the minimum point for you to apply for an Australian PR is 65 points. So if you meet up with 65, then you can apply. That doesn't mean that you must get a visa, because there might be some rush, competition, and 65 may not grant you the visa. Maybe what will grant you is 70 or 75 or even 80, depending on the skill. If it's a skill that many people have applied to, then you might have people who are more qualified than you. So that is it. So let's take you through the process, how you can apply for this visa, step-by-step process to apply for this visa. Number one, you need to check your eligibility. Okay, what occupation you have, what is the occupation that are available in the list? Is the occupation which you wish to apply for, which you are qualified, available in the list? You need to check. That is the first thing to do. The second thing you need to do is migration skill assessment. Yeah, in Australia, the Australian government wants to ensure that irrespective of what you claim or what you find in or your education qualification, they want to be sure that you have the right attribute for your profession. For example, if you're an engineer, the Engineers Australia want to be sure you have the right attribute to work as an engineer in Australia. If you're a nurse, the Nursing and Midwifery Society wants to ensure that you have the right attribute to work as a nurse in Australia, the same way for many other skills. So there are different skill assessments, but they depend on what your profession is. For example, if you're an engineer, you can apply to Engineers Australia. They're the one who will do your migration skill assessment. If you're a nurse, like I said, or a midwife, the Nursing and Midwifery Council Society will handle your skill assessment. And if there are other people, like for the IT sector, for certain professions, if you have to apply for skill assessment for certain profession, you will be required to submit a test of English. For example, Engineers Australia will need you to submit a test of English from the beginning of the process, okay? Yeah, but then some courses like some marketing and some other courses don't really need you to submit an English test at this point. Engineers Australia, for example, will need you to have work experience, while some courses, some profession like IT do not really need you to have work experience before they do your assessment. So this is so it varies from profession to profession, okay? Yeah, the third thing or the top step you need to take is to calculate your points. Yeah, I will try to drop the points calculator in the comment section so you can hit it up and calculate your points to see if you have up to 35 points, okay? Yeah, so like I said, the minimum point is 35, but then that doesn't guarantee you will get this nomination, okay? So some of the things that will make you get higher points, or some of the things that are being considered the attributes for you to get points. Number one is your age. If you're within 25 and 32, then you're going to get the highest score for age, which is about 20 points. Yeah, but if you are above 32, then you will be losing your score to about 10. And if you're both up to 40 to 44, 44 is actually the max, because 45 is the maximum age to be in Australia as a permanent residency to come. So at 44, you should apply. So within 40 to 44, you'll be getting just 5 points, okay? So which is a bit low and might affect your success rates. Yeah, that is it. So it is important to consider this. Then again, another thing that helps is your qualification. You get about 20 points if you have a PhD, and about 15 if you have a master's, and about 10 if you have a bachelor's degree, and about 5 if you have some certificate or diploma program, or yeah. So that is about education qualification. Then you have work experience, whether in Australia or outside of Australia. If you have work experience outside of Australia, if you have up to 8 years of work experience, you can claim the maximum score of 20 points, and it comes down, according to your work experience. And if you have work experience in Australia, you get additional points. If you also study in Australia, you get additional points. If you have a master's or a doctorate by research in Australia, you get additional points. If you just have a 1 year study in Australia, you also get some points. Then if you have a spouse who have English language test, she can contribute up to 5 points for you if she has a sufficient English language test. And if she has a skill evaluation done, she can give you more score. If there is no skill evaluation done, then you get only language contribution from her, okay? Then if you are single, because the Australian government also wants to ensure that the single remain competitive in the queue. So if you are single, you also get 10 points for being single, and if you're applying as a single candidate, okay? Yeah, then if you are getting state or regional nomination, you get some points. So these are all things that can give you points, okay? Yeah, so English language tests which are accepted, they accept IELTS, PTE, TOEFL, Cambridge. But let me just talk about IELTS. You need to have 7 band in all the scores for you to get competent English, which will give you about 10 points. If you have 8 band in all the points, you have superior English, they gain 20 points. And 9 band is the highest, which is quite difficult, but some guys have been lucky to hit up 9 band. Well, that is about the English language proficiency contribution. So next thing you need to do is to submit an expression of interest with skill select. Yeah, this is what gives you the opportunity to be invited. It is when you've submitted the expression of interest. You can't just go and after doing migration to apply for the visa, you need to first get invitation to apply, which you need to do through the expression of interest, okay? And you have to submit this in Skill Select. Well, Skill Select is a system from the Home Office, to select people automatically based on their score. So what happens is that based on the score, Skill Select will go and pick the people with the highest score automatically. So it is important to find a way to improve your scores. Yeah, so haven't seen the things I've said, how you can get a high score, so you can see the things you may need to do to improve your score. So the next thing which you can also do, if you don't have a good score, you may be lucky to go through, you can go through the state nomination or directorial nomination, Normally they used to prefer candidates who are already living in their region, in their state, okay? So you can go through that. And lastly, once you've done all this and you've gotten ITA, invitation to apply, then you can do the last process, which is applying for your visa. So guys, if you have been following up with me, you will notice that I've said things, step-by-step things you need to do to achieve this. First, so guys, this is it. The simple step is, number 1, you need to check your eligibility. Number 2, you need to do a migration scale assessment. And number 3, you need to calculate your points. So if you've done this, then the next thing you need to do is to fill out expression of interest form in Skill Select. And once you get an invitation to apply, number 5 and the last is for you to go and hit the visa application and find your way and head to Australia. So guys, this is it. I wish you the best of luck. I hope you try it. Cheers.